Hey, what's up, everybody? This is 24 Chambers of Film, and I'm Steven. This is Nathan, and today we're going to be doing another movie review, a retro movie review of the classic vampire film 30 Days of Night, starring Josh Hartnett, directed by David Slade, based off the graphic novel 30 Days of Night. And yeah, so let's get into it. So, Nathan, let me hear your opening thoughts on this film. What do you think about it?
For me, this is the best vampire movie there is. Hands down. I don't think there is another vampire movie that comes close to it, in my opinion, because it took the genre and I feel it used a new story, even though it's based on the comic book. It's not
Hmm.
an original idea for a movie, but it took that, it executed it well. Josh Hartnett's phenomenal in it. Everyone who's in it does a good job, and then just the story itself for vampires worked. I don't think most people are aware that there's places where it's dark for 30 days and how that would be the perfect scenario, how they set everything up that the vampires do. I don't think they would consider that. So to me, that's like the perfect scenario for the movie.
No, yeah, I mean, I would agree with you in the sense that it's a very ingenious idea for a vampire concept. I think, um, again, like you said, I wasn't aware that that happened in places. It's Alaska, right?
Alaska.
Yeah,
I don't know if it happens in other places,
yeah,
but the
but I
movie's in
wasn't aware
Alaska.
that I wasn't aware of that happening where there's a whole month of no sun. And when I found out from this movie, and I was like, wow, what a great idea for a vampire movie to put that in there and use that as the setting, because it would be terrifying for anybody who has to deal with that, Um, I don't think it's the best vampire movie. I think it's one of the top vampire movies. I like it a lot. Like you said, I really think Josh Hartnett does great in this movie as the lead character. Melissa George, who plays uh, his wife, and they're kind of on the rocks, and she does a great job. They both play police officers in here. He's the sheriff of the town, and Ben Foster's in it. He plays a great weirdo in it. Yeah, he's kind of a co-conspirator with vampires. But yeah, no, I think it's great, and it's one of the best vampire films for sure, without a doubt.
Correction, the best vampire film,
Well, no,
without a doubt.
the best is from Dusk Till Dawn, but we can do that another
No,
time.
okay. Oh my god. You know what? I would have almost accepted any other answer, but the fact that Dust Till Dawn I love, but the fact that you said that's the best vampire movie,
It is for me.
oh, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say.
I mean,
Sometimes, look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but sometimes they're wrong, and this is one of those instances where
okay,
you
well,
are
look,
wrong.
guys, just let us know in the comments if you think.
So, okay, let's move on to this. To this, what are the cons of this movie for you?
Okay, so the cons. I mean, honestly, I don't think I necessarily have like big cons in the movie. I think why I like From Dusk Till Dawn more from 30 Days a Night is just an aesthetic and kind of like a dialogue thing. And I love the switch in the middle from Dusk Till Dawn. I think it just, the story and the characters are more compelling in my opinion. This film has good characters, but not better than From Dusk Till Dawn. I think that's one of the key factors. I do wish they would spend a little bit more times, a little. I would say more like time with the side characters in the sense of like the cops, like give them a little bit more of a fleshed outness. It's just kind of Melissa George, Josh Hartnett, and then there's a group of people that they do go with. I just wish it was maybe just give them a little bit more, but that's a minor con. I don't. It's not
See,
necessary for me.
I don't think I thought they did just the right amount with
Yeah,
everyone
well,
because
okay, hold on. You didn't even let me finish. What I'm saying, that's not like a big. That's like me being nitpicky, is what I'm saying. I don't. This movie doesn't really have a lot of cons. I think it's a very well made movie. Maybe just the any parts that were CGI, maybe like not them be CGI is like my biggest con. Other than that,
so
most of it's practical.
you wanted them to light Josh Hartnett on fire so his ashes could blow away.
That the CGI wasn't done terribly. It wasn't done terribly in that scene. But no, that one I get. Yeah, but I think it did pretty good. Maybe integrate somehow some practical into it. But yeah, that one's gonna have to be mostly CGI, and I don't think it's a bad CGI render. Like I said, I saw it recently, and it still holds up for the most part, in my opinion. But most of it is practical. You know what I mean? So. Yeah, like I said, that it doesn't really have much cons in my opinion. I remember seeing this in the theater, my friends, we split up. I was the only one that went to go see it, and they went to go see Gone Baby Gone because I was like, no, I'm watching 30 Days a Night. And obviously, Gone Baby Gone's great, but I was so happy that I saw 30 Days a Night because I thought it was a great, refreshing take on the vampire genre. What about you? Do you have any cons, or what's your con?
I don't think there's any cons for this movie. I think it's one of the few movies where they do a nice
Okay,
job
go
tying
ahead. Go ahead.
everything together, even with the characters. Because if you pay attention when in the opening scene when everyone's leaving the town, you see all of the characters that are going to come into the movie at some point.
I figured out my con. It's more like I wish there was more Ben Foster in it. I feel like he gets killed a little too early in the movie for me. I would have liked to see his character be in the film longer. I'm fine that he dies. I just wish we would have got more of him in the movie. And I got
I
another one,
have
but
to
yeah.
disagree. I have to disagree with that con because he was in the movie as long as the vampires needed him, and as soon as they didn't need him, they killed him off.
Like I would have liked if he would have maybe
Hold on, sorry. It seems like we're gonna get into spoiler territory now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
anyone who's watching this, if you haven't seen it, watch 30 Days a Night. It's an amazing vampire movie. If you don't want any spoilers, stop right now, go watch it, and come back and let us know that we were right, saying it's one of the best vampire movies, maybe the best vampire movie.
God damn it, no.
But yeah, step away now if you do want to watch it without receiving any spoilers, because we're probably going to enter that territory a little bit. So continue with your next point.
It's more like I think they could have done something where, like, how they essentially reject him. They didn't take him to turn him, like he's all bitching about it. Once they go back to the police station, and they showed up there and they left him there. I thought I would have been cool with him maybe like being mad at them and kind of joining the team with Josh Hartnett, in some way. And
but I don't think it works though, because it seems like he's been somewhat turned. He's not a human anymore.
No, I think he's just like
remember, he goes in and he asks for like the raw hamburger, and it seems like he has a lust for. They don't explain it.
I think he's just trying to live that lifestyle, but he's not a real. He's like a fake vampire.
I'll tell you why it works for me what they did with him, because in reality, when you look at people who want to be part of something, a cult, whatever, they don't just say, "Oh, I'm going to turn on them when they get rejected." It's something they want so bad. So I feel like if they would have made him join Josh Hartnett, it would have been ridiculous. It wouldn't have made any sense.
No, it could make sense. You could always people can always turn on the things that they love anytime. But I'm saying I don't think, like I said, I think you
want Ben Foster in there because you personally like Ben Foster's performance because it was an amazing performance.
But
I
don't hold on, no.
Improve the story.
Well, no, I'm like I said, I'm fine with what happens. You're asking me what I would have preferred if that's. I think it would have been beneficial if he would have been in the film longer some way. Now, does it ruin the movie that he dies like a little bit before the middle point? No, and that he doesn't really leave the police station? No, it doesn't bother me at all necessarily. It's not a bad thing, but I'm being critical here. So I'm being critical. I'm like, I would have liked to see more Ben Foster. The other thing I would have been, why did it take the vampires to find out that this place exists? That's my only other con.
No, if you pay attention, they do it to different areas every 30 days, every year. So eventually they got to this town.
So like it barely took him till 2007 to get to this town? It just seems like a little like a weird thing.
They're talking about stories in the past, right? Where basically the same thing has been done to different towns. It just happened that now was this town's turn.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I guess how many other towns does this happen to? That's what I would have liked to know, like at least that fact. And just because, and also these vampires are really old. I feel like they would have known about this, depending on how many places do this.
Again, we don't know how many places this happens to.
Like, at the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. It's more of a nitpick, like just getting that extra information of like how long these vampires have been around and how many places go in full darkness for a month, 30 days. I'm just curious. That's just like a thing I would have liked to been explained. At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world to me.
I mean, Josh Hartnett talks about it happening at different places. He doesn't go sit down and give you a list of how many places this has happened at, but they acknowledge the fact that this has happened before. When he ties it together, he goes, this town in Alaska, blah, 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 blah. oil fire, and
I
then
get,
he realizes what that they're
but
doing.
but I'm just saying, like, why did they just now arrive at this place? You know what I mean? Like at these areas. So in 2007, that's what. Because if the vampires are supposed to be alive for so long, why did it take them so long to finally get to a place that has, that's a month of night?
Well,
That's all I'm
okay,
wondering.
look at vampire lore, right? They're not from the United States. They're not. They didn't start here. If you look at vampire lore, so they might have stayed on their side of the world, and then eventually
Possibly,
started making their way
possibly.
over here. And now, in the last, say, 7 years, 10 years, who knows, right? It doesn't
Yes,
have to stick to anything like that.
true, true. But I'm saying that's like I'm saying that's like a nitpick. It's another nitpick. Like I'm saying, at the end of the day,
So
there's not.
basically, what you're saying is there's no valid cons because you're just nitpicking. So let's
Yeah.
move on
Well,
because there's
no,
no valid cons.
these are valid. Like they are valid, but they're not like something that's like detrimental to the story. So yeah, I mean, it's a nitpick. Nitpicks are nitpicks, but I'm just saying, I'm trying to indulge into the conversation of what could be a con, in this movie. But like I said, it's very hard because I really like this movie a lot. So yeah, let's move on. Of course, yeah, you're right.
So let's go first. Let's talk about the characters in this movie. You have Evan, which is played by Josh Hartnett, and then you have Stella, which is played by what's her name? The actress, I lose her
Melissa
name off the
George.
top of my
So
head.
we're gonna talk about the performances here, that more than the
Yeah,
characters.
yeah. Well, sorry, the performance Melissa George, and
Uh,
then the guy to me that's obviously aside from Ben Foster that stole the show. I mean, they all did great,
yeah,
but the guy who plays the main vampire, his name is Marlowe. The actor's name Danny Huston.
Danny
Oh
Houston.
man,
Danny Houston.
is it Houston or Huston? Because it's spelled Huston.
I think he pronounced it Houston,
Okay,
like John Houston.
so he did a phenomenal job just in the way that he portrayed that vampire. The best scene is when the girl, I don't remember who it is that's praying, but he goes,
Hmm.
God, no God,
Oh
like
yeah,
in his vampire voice. That was
yeah.
such a good scene right there. And all the vampires did a good job. The girl,
Hmm.
his girlfriend in the movie, that actress, I'm not sure exactly what her name is. I think it's Amber Sainsbury. I'm not 100% sure. Or actually, no, I think it's Megan Franish. Either
Yeah,
way,
yeah,
great job. She did a great job as well. The guy that I think Mark Boone Jr. is his name, the guy that plays the big grizzly bear guy, he did a
yeah,
great
yeah.
job. And this
Oh yeah,
was, I
yeah, yeah.
believe
He's a great actor.
this was before his Sons of Anarchy, or either right
Hmm.
before or in the middle of Sons of Anarchy. But man, he did an awesome job. I think overall the cast, the only guy who really drove me crazy was Josh Hartnett's brother. But I think that was the
Mark
point.
Rendell. Yeah,
Yeah,
Rendell.
I
I
think
mean,
that was the point.
yeah.
That was the point. They cast him because he looks like a puny little like brother,
Uh huh.
essentially, like in that role, and that's what his character is supposed to be. But again, perfectly done, executed that perfectly.
No, yeah, I think all the performances are like solid and they deliver in what they're supposed to be doing. Even his partner cop or his best friend, that's one of the cops, or I don't know if it's his best friend, but his closest deputy, which is what's his name? Billy is his name, I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure. Or
Billy's his name.
yeah, Manu Bennett. Yeah, he's good, really good, and he has a harrowing arc in his movie. What happens to him? Very brutal, very sad stuff. But yeah, no, Josh Hartnett's the show stealer, and Melissa George for me. They're the ones that really stand out. They're the ones, their chemistry and their whole dynamic of their relationship. It's a good, it's a good tale of them reconnecting from their broken marriage. They're clearly, when the movie starts, they're on the rocks. She's about to leave, but she ends up getting held up because of the storm or something like that. I can't remember exactly what was the
Yeah, so
reason.
everyone's supposed. There's
Yeah,
one last plane that
plane
leaves, and
delay
then
or
there's
leaves. Yeah.
there's a plane that leaves. It's the last plane
Uh
because
huh.
there's no incoming supplies or anything for 30
That's right.
days,
That's right.
and she misses the final flight out for the 30
That's what
days.
it is. She misses the flight. That's what it is. So
She
she's
gets in
stuck
a car
there.
accident. She gets in a car accident on the way there, and that makes her miss.
That's right. So she's stuck. She's stuck there, and Josh Hartnett's very happy because now he can, make amends and try to, work, put his marriage back together. But they're both great, and I'm a big fan of Josh Hartnett, and he's a great leading man in this film. And yeah, I think everybody did a great job. So, what do you think about like the filmmaking of the movie, the way it was done and stuff? Like, what's like the look of it? Like, what do you think of the style of the film and the music and all that
I
stuff?
I'm not a big fan of movies that are very dark, like 90% of the time. In this
Hmm.
movie, 30 Days a Night, uh,
Yeah.
I understand why they do it, right? You have to set the tone. Perfect example for me is the Batman movies, especially the early Tim Burton ones. They were always so
Hmm.
dark.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand why they did that. I'm not hating on it. It's just not my favorite when a movie's completely dark. But the fact that it's in snow, so the snow's
Yeah.
white and it balances perfectly, I thought that was great. I thought that worked perfectly for the movie.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
I thought they did a very, very good job with that. And I thought off the top of my head, I can't remember because they use CGI. I can't remember any CGI that I was like, oh, this is a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't do any heavy CGI besides the ending of the movie with Josh Hartnett when what happens to him when he dies. But most of it's pretty much practical. I think there's some like superimposing CGI stuff when Danny Huston gets killed, where he sticks his hand through
And
his
even
mouth.
I thought that looked pretty.
Yeah,
If you think about if you think about the time frame, which is 2007 when this came out, those that's great CGI for that time, especially. There's been movies with way bigger budgets that fuck up the CGI,
no, yeah, I think
and
most
they
of it
did it well.
works. Yeah, most of it works, and it's very subtle use of CGI throughout the movie, if any. But a lot of it is practical in camera stuff, which looks great. And like you said, I think the balance of the white snow with the night sky adds a great look to it. It's a cold looking movie, obviously, because it takes place in the snow and all that stuff, and in Alaska. But it looks great. I think it looks it's very fitting for this movie, the aesthetic that they went with, and yeah, and the blood looks great on the white snow. What do you think of like the design of the vampires?
I liked it because the one thing and I could be wrong about this, okay?
Because it's a new
But
take on the look.
they have it reminds me of Baraka from Mortal Kombat, like their teeth, the
Yeah.
way it's set
Okay.
up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know before that how many films were using that, but I feel since then it's been adopted a lot. That Baraka style look
Like a
when it comes to
multiple
the
sharp
teeth.
teeth. Yeah. Multiple sharp
Yes.
teeth. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And again, if anyone knows of a movie that used it before this, please let me know. I'm not aware. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. That's just the
Yeah.
first time I can recall seeing it. And then I've seen it plenty of times after that. So I thought clearly it's a look that people gravitate to if it keeps
Yeah.
getting used. And
Like
I thought it
Abigail,
worked.
right? Abigail, don't they have like a bunch of
Abigail,
sharp
yeah,
teeth in there as
they
well?
use the
They
exact
they
same
kind
thing in
of
Abigail.
riffing off that style. Yeah, no, I like the look. That's one thing that I remember when I saw the trailer was like intriguing to me was the look of the vampires because they looked vicious. And this is during the time when you're getting Twilight sparkly vampires, so it was a nice contrast to get
Yeah.
that vicious looking vampire. They're basically animals at this point. They're not the romantic,
Yeah,
type
they're
of
not all
vampire we're used to. They're
sophisticated or
not
anything like that.
sophisticated. They're savages. They're savage animals. I love their claws, their nails.
They don't try to blend in with anybody. They basically they
They're like a
send
wolf
in
pack.
yeah,
They're
they
like a wolf
send in
pack. Yeah.
someone to do some recon and then they attack.
Yeah, exactly. So they have their little slave boy Ben Foster go in there and kind of scope things out. But I was gonna say I love the shot where he puts his fingernail on the record in the
Oh yeah, that
house.
is a
Yeah,
good
I
one.
always thought that was in the trailer. It was great, and in the movie, it's cool too. But yeah,
As far as movies, like scenes in the movie, are there any that stood
yeah,
out to you?
yeah. My favorite movie scene. Oh man, I think my favorite movie. I love the scene where Billy like gets like bitten, and then he gets his hand chopped off. And he's already been bitten, and then he gets he's
Yeah.
just like that's just and he's like screaming, and it's such a great effect of his hand just bleeding and just like gushing out. It's like it's a horrifying scene. It just looks brutal as hell. It's just a very like shock moment that works really well, that seems earned. And I really like also the scene. I think my favorite scene is Josh Hartnett deciding that he's gonna inject himself. I just love that in the story that he's gonna so he can end this vampire, inject himself with the blood of Billy, who's been bit by a vampire and is turning. then they also chopped his head. The way that chopping head effect is so it's really realistic looking. I think it's one of the best scenes of someone
I
getting their head
remember,
chopped off.
I remember being in the movie theater and watching that, and I was with my friend Dan, and so that happens, and all of a sudden he just yells, "Oh my god, they showed that!" Like
Yeah,
to
no,
the
that's
point
the
where
other
like
thing.
the entire theater like reacted and started laughing because he was just in utter shock
Yeah,
that they showed that in the movie.
I was gonna say that scene is that when he chops after he kills him, he kills Billy because he's turning into a vampire. Josh Hartnett chops his head off, and it's the brother, right? No, it's wait, there was
Isn't
wait,
it the guy who ran the Muffin Monster, the machine that
no, no, I think it's the brother. It's his younger brother that ends up chopping his head off, right? Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank here. Either way, either it's Josh Hartnett's brother or Josh Hartnett chop his head off, and
Josh Hartnett is the one who chops the head off, I'm pretty sure.
okay. I don't know why I was getting confused there, but
No,
uh,
because remember the younger brother tries and then he tells him like kills somebody else and then Josh Hartnett
gotcha.
like
Okay, you're right. You're right. I
takes
think
over because he knows he's not built like that or for that.
yeah, if we're wrong, let us know in the comments. So I'm pretty sure whatever, it doesn't matter. He gets his head chopped off. It's an amazing effect. It definitely kind of makes your eyes widen, when especially watching it for the first time. But just him injecting the blood and then seeing him transform and then him going out there. I love this when he actually goes out there and then the music kicks in and he's going towards Danny Huston to challenge him in a fight. I love that whole sequence of him. The camera's just following him as he's moving forward to him, and the music's like brum brum brum, like it's like a cool there's some drums in there. I don't know, it's just a dope scene.
There's four scenes for me in this movie that stand out
Uh,
that to me are the best in the whole movie, and none of them really have anything to do with any of the actual action. It's just
mhm.
part of how they set up the story. So the first one is when the lady's praying and the guy goes,
Oh
God,
yeah,
no God,
yeah,
because it
yeah,
just establishes how they've been doing this for years
hmm,
and no one's going to stop them. It doesn't
yeah,
matter because they probably hear that all the time. The
yeah.
second one is when they are using the little girl as bait on the
Oh yeah,
street and you see all the vampires like on the roofs kind of stealthily
uh-huh.
moving around hoping that someone's going to come and try to save her so they could get them. I thought that was a great scene. Then the third one is, and to me this is the best scene in the movie because it just encapsulates what everyone's going through in the most tragic way. Billy, who is Josh Hartnett's friend, Josh Hartnett and everyone else makes it to his house because he signals them, and he has two daughters, I believe, and a wife,
Yeah,
and he's basically ended them because he doesn't want them to suffer, and how everyone else is suffering because they could hear everyone's screams. And
yeah,
Josh Hartnett loses it, and he grabs them, and not your family, you never hurt them. But the fact that
yeah,
that man felt that was the best way out for his family just kind of
yeah.
paints
Brutal,
it
brutal.
how what's going on in this town, and to the fact that he thinks that is the best option so that they don't suffer like everyone else seems to be suffering around them. And the final scene that I thought was really great is back to when he turns himself into a vampire to fight, is when he comes out and then the main vampire, he goes, the one who fights.
Hmm,
And because to me that just says you're not the first one to do it, but no
hmm,
one's ever succeeded. So it's almost like, again, it's just another day in the office for them, and
hmm.
they're not worried. And it kind of just adds to their lore of makes you wonder how much have they gone away with, how long have
Yeah,
they gone away with this, and all that kind of stuff. So I thought
but he,
to
but
me
he,
those
but he,
four scenes.
but he fucked up because he didn't know he was a vampire. He didn't realize. I'm sure nobody's ever tried that,
Yeah,
But also, I forgot to mention. I also like. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but the scene where he, Josh Hartnett's with Melissa George, and he's gonna kill himself by exposing himself to the sun because it's the last day of the month before the sun is gonna come up. That's just a cool scene. I like the music that kicks in too, and it's just like sad, but it works. It's a powerful scene, I think, and I just like the music
you
that
know
plays
what?
over it.
I'll tell you right now, and I feel like you can answer it on your own by looking at it.
Hmm,
But you want to talk about a con? That would be my only con in the movie. Not having an explanation why he didn't maybe try to preserve himself. Is it because he doesn't think he's going to be able to control the instinct of being a vampire? Is it because he's not going to be able to hide? Like, you get what I'm saying? There's a few different scenarios that it could have been. Why he's going to just sit there and let the sun come up.
I think he doesn't want to be a vampire. He doesn't like that life. Like, you're not going to be able to. You're going to succumb to your cravings.
Yeah, but he's never been a vampire before, so he doesn't know. So again, I would just. I'm not
it's
saying
not anything he wants to find out. He doesn't want. He's seen what they become. You're not going to become some fucking sophisticated swab motherfucker. He saw what they actually end up becoming.
But I agree with the decision for him to do that. I'm just saying it would have been nice if there was some type of dialogue, just kind of wrapping that up.
No, I think it was perfect. You don't need it. It's self-explanatory. It's like, bro,
coming from the guy who was talking about he needs to know how many towns they've killed when they discovered America.
Okay, first of all, I preface by saying that's a nitpick, not really an issue. Okay, because so don't even give me that crap. I'm just saying I think that's self-explanatory. Also, he's not going to be able to enjoy life with his wife if he's a vampire, because it's just not going to be. It's not going to work. I mean,
that could have been the birth of Josh Hartnett's Blade right there.
You got to look at it. These guys aren't like guys who can like hide. These guys can't hide their freaking teeth. Like that
could have been Blade's That could have been Blade's partner.
Yeah, I don't think they're in the same universe. That would have been Blade's enemy. That's what it would have been.
You never know. Yeah. But no, overall, I mean, to me, like I said, this is the best vampire movie. What do you give it as far as a score on a scale of 1 to 10?
Scale 1 to 10, I give it a 8.8.
I give this a 9.2. To me, it's very rare for me to give a movie a 10. This is as close to a 10 without being able to get a 10. And I honestly probably would keeping it from a 10 to me would be that I would have liked maybe to find out what's the effect of when people find out what happened, right? Like, show the people coming back. Yeah, the aftermath. I think, and maybe it doesn't have to be like a big scene, but just maybe in a post-credit scene. I don't know. Just that'd be the only thing. I like to see the aftermath of what happened, because it was such a big thing, right? They basically discovered what has been going on in several places. So I think I would have liked to see the aftermath somewhat, but it's not necessary. But other than that, I mean, I think this movie is like I said, damn good. To me, it's the best vampire flick around.
I'll just say this also. You're probably never going to see me rate anything a 10. There's no 10 movie, in my opinion. I don't think there's a perfect movie. Even when I say it's basically a perfect movie, I don't think there's always something. There's no such thing as a perfect movie. But there are great movies, and 30 Days a Night is definitely one of them.
All right, guys, there you have it. You got an 8.8 from Steven. You got a 9.2 from me for 30 Days a Night. If you want to watch a good vampire flick, go watch it. It's definitely worth a watch. Stay away from the sequel. Horrible.
I didn't even watch that.
Just watch the first one, and you don't need to watch anything else.
Yeah.
There you have it, 30 Days a Night. Let us know if you've seen it, what you thought about it, where it ranks in your favorite where it ranks in your favorite vampire list. Is it better than Twilight? I'm just joking. Of course, it's better than Twilight.
Yeah.
Now, let us know, but we appreciate it. We appreciate if you guys to hit a like on the review, and if you guys subscribe to the channel so you can stay updated with more of our retro reviews. We're going to be doing these for movies, and for anyone, I know we didn't mention in the beginning, but retro reviews, any movie that is 10 years or older from the date of us filming the video, that qualifies for a retro review. So appreciate it. Once again, we're 24 Chambers of Film.
Give us some recommendations too on the comments. If you guys have any movie you guys want us to review that's that you considered a classic or anything like that, we'll review it and watch it.
And as I was saying before this asshole cut me off, I'm Nathan. This is Steven. We're 24 Chambers of Film. Appreciate you guys watching.